Hello, ladies. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Sharon. I hope everybody had a good time. So, I'm not demoing anything today. As I said, we are going to have to do something with the Delicate Spring Cane project. And I've actually let it, I didn't reduce it because I know a lot of you need tips about reducing. So all I've been doing is to get the cane just warmed up a little bit to start it. But this is a round cane, and generally speaking, with round canes, you can cut slices and place them on top of an existing background that's the same color as the filling. But what I prefer to do in cases like this, because it doesn't really distort the cane in any way, hi Mona, is to actually change it into a hexagonal cane. And this can be done in two ways. You can either add some clay, or very gently, again with care not to distort, you can actually make this cane into a hexagonal cane just by changing a little bit the outside. Now, what gives you the indication of which would be the best to do is, do you have any elements that are towards the edge? And here we have two elements. So because of that, your best bet is to actually add the little triangles that would form the hexagon. And it also helps with reduction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself some hi Darla, hi Carlene, hi Christina. What I'm going to do is to get myself some pointers. So I'm going to get this stem as one of the points of the hexagon. And then obviously that would be, the next one would be here. And then I do an approximation of 1/3, and again here 1/3. And what I need to do is to make little triangles. Not really, I just started, Colleen. And hello, by the way. I was just explaining how you can turn round canes into hexagonal canes, and I was saying that you can do it by adding a little bit of the clay that was wrapping the background color, or you can simply push the cane into a hexagon. And what determines what would be your best bet is how close you have elements to the edge of the cane. If you have more than one element to the edge of the cane, it's better to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some clay here, and I want it to be about the height of the cane. And I'm going to cut and stack to make a relative kind of sort of squarish thing. You can also use your extruder. Hi Elaine, glad you made it. Hi Wanda. So the thing is that in in a hexagon you do not have square angles, so I'm going to have to cut it at an obtuse angle. So this is not perfectly square here, and there we go. So at an obtuse, more obtuse angle, going to still cut it sort of kind of 45 degrees, but first of all I have to cut it properly all the way to the bottom. Come on. And there we go. So normally I should have had two of them there. So I'm gonna place this here, and then make another one. And as I said, this should have given me two, but I messed up. So I'm gonna get just one out of this one as well. Wrong again. It's all a matter of hands. So I have my other dot here, and the beauty of it is that you can actually use the little square pairs of tiny Pandora if you're doing a hexagon. Alright, I should be able to get two out of this one if my hands don't go wampus again. And it is cold and nasty here today. I don't know how it is where you are. Hi, Janine. Now, I know that I do have a tutorial, and I will look for it here in a minute and link it, on how to make bangle bases. And I know Tiny Pandora has some too. So you have a choice. And you can use to bake a bangle, because I'm going to use this one. And I usually have around the house, because whenever I amass a certain quantity of scrap clay, I go ahead and I do blanks for bangles, for cabochons, for all kinds of stuff. Alright, so I need to make this a little bit. Yes, I was, but I slept through it because it was at 2 a.m. and it's a good thing I slept through it, because I have earthquake-induced PTSD. So I'll probably have not slept for a week, because fear and panic. Yeah, when I was thing is here. Did I do it right? Let me put it here just to be on the safe side. When I was 16, actually it was like a week before I turned 16. I lived through I think Mercalli was 7.5, Richter was 7.2 earthquake that lasted for a minute and a half. So a lot of times, you know, the length of the earthquake causes more damages than an earthquake can cause more damages if it lasts longer than an earthquake the next. I think there were like something like 3,000 people died. And then I was in the hospital. When I got through another earthquake that was only 6.8, but within 24 hours it had about 6,000 replicas. I was afraid to sit because sitting made you feel the tremors better, you know. So, but anyway, when I was 16, I was very, like all teenagers, I was impressionable. And is this big enough? Should be. And the thing was that, you know, generally speaking, in Romania, buildings are built. Let me actually make it sturdier. Buildings are built strong, generally. I mean, it's mostly a matter of reinforced concrete. In the big buildings downtown, the outer walls would be like 3 foot thick, and Christina can tell you that. I mean, the buildings are not like in the US. They are really, really sturdy. But what happened, that specific earthquake was a very deep, thank you, Mona, was a very deep earthquake, like 100 miles, something like that, below ground. And that type of earthquake does more damage a little bit farther from, because it was like 40 miles, 50 miles from Bucharest. But what happened, as I said, it had 2 motion waves. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I was 16 at the time. And the first wave was like this, and the second wave was like this. And what it did on some older buildings in Bucharest, when it did like this, it kind of broke the building off the foundation, and then it did like this. And most of the buildings that I'm talking about the multi-story buildings that were mostly downtown. They looked like layered cakes on which a giant had stepped on. And of course, I was in senior high at that time. And because I lived in like a gated community, and most of us were going to the same high school that was not too far, maybe about a mile from where I lived. So we decided to go to the high school to see if any other of our colleagues would show up, you know, to kind of have a roll call, if you want. So we did, and there were a few others of us who had the same idea, so okay, I know what I did. I did only 5. Never mind. Okay, so this goes here. I've been talking and yeah, it was horrible. So we decided to go downtown, which was not far. It was walking distance pretty much, to check on some of our other colleagues that we knew lived in that area. So we go walking through the rubble and dust and all that. I think I need more white. And all that. And at one point, we had gotten pretty deep into that area. The only building that was downtown Bucharest, and it was kind of like on the outskirts of downtown, that didn't get crushed like this but went like this, was one in which they had removed some of the weight-bearing beams, vertical bearing beams, to make more room to have a store on the ground floor. But anyway, so we were right in the middle of it, and we decided, okay, we kind of had enough of it. We were at that point, we were completely horrified. So we tried to retrack our steps and go back. And guess what? There were a lot of, by that time, the full rescue services have started. And there were a lot of police and firefighters and army and all that. And we were trying to, and it was started being cordoned. And we're trying to go past, you know, one of those checkpoints, and they wouldn't let us. We kept saying, no, we don't live here. We need to go back home. Oh, no, you must be in shock. Just stay here and somebody will come take care of you. Anyway, in the end, we managed to get home. Because you can imagine, the phones weren't working. Nothing was working. It was 1977, so no cell phones and stuff like that. But anyway, and why I was so... the building I lived in was an exceptionally sturdy building. Exceptionally sturdy. I mean, it was, the way it was built, they had made, I mean, the out wall was like 2.5 feet thick, and the way it was built, it was that they made 2 or 3 brick walls like this with rebars, and then concrete was poured in those spaces. So the thing was that it was very sturdy and at the same time quite elastic, because one of my neighbors was outside when it happened. Hi, Chris. And he said that my building was a 5-story. It was to the middle. It was not moving, and then the top was doing like this. And I lived on the 5th floor. So, yeah, I can tell you that we had in the dining room, I still remember we had one pretty nice chandelier, and it was hitting the ceiling on both sides, and we had a lot of, my parents were professors, humanities professors, literature, so we had a ton of books in the house. So we had, along all the walls, we had bookshelves. And when it was over, all the bookshelves were leaning on the dining table. So it was something else. So yeah, I do have PTSD, earthquake PTSD. And we had back in November 2011, we had I think it was a 5.2, maybe 5.4. Can't really remember. I can look it up. But it lasted, I looked afterwards on the network of the seismology sites and the seismograph things, and the rumbling lasted for a bit over 5 minutes. I mean, the 5 was not that long, was maybe up to a minute. You know how to the scared mind it seems to be way longer than that. But as it subsided, the rumbling still kept going on for a long time. Yes, I was. That's the one when I was with my husband. We were visiting my parents, and we spent the night there. And it was pretty late. I think it was around midnight, something like that. And I know we had watched, it was during communism, so we didn't have a lot of TV stuff. So we were watching the Bulgarian TV. And my husband had gone to bed, and I was still up with Dad. We were talking, because I always had lots of stuff to talk about with Dad. And when it started, I rushed to the bedroom to wake up my husband, and we had a little dog that we took with us, of course. And I kept yelling at him to get under the door, and he had scooped the puppy with one hand, and he was trying to grab his bowl of water. I kept screaming at him, leave the water, come here. And finally he did. And afterwards I asked him, and he was like, dude, you just woke me up. I woke up in an earthquake, and all I could see was the water sloshing on your parents' beautiful parquet floor. Just like, forget the darn parquet. If something would have happened, you'd have been squashed for my parents' floors. Anyway, yeah, that's what I remember of that. But yeah, you can. But for some reason, that was a bit less scary for me than the other two occurrences. Maybe because I was a bit more trusting in our building. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think. I think there were maybe a couple people who died, but nothing significant. The thing was the one that when I was in the hospital scared the bejesus out of me, because I remember that I went to stand under the door frame. You know, that's the magic spot. And I was looking up. There was a huge hallway kind of thing that also had some tables and chairs for visiting people. And at the very end was like a windowed out room for the nurses. And I looked and I saw one of the beams starting to crack, and it was the first time that I rushed. And I was on the second floor, so it wasn't that bad. And by the way, Christina, second floor in the US means first floor in Romania. So I rushed outside. And after that, I found out that that was not a bearing beam, but for the sake of aesthetics and to have everything nice, they had built several fake beams just to make the ceiling look nice. All right, so now I have arranged my thing and I can start actually. But you see how I go on the opposite sides, and I press, this time I press a little bit more towards the inside part, and I need to get it a little bit smaller for the square pairs. But yeah, it was horrible. That's why I have earthquake PTSD. And yes, my house here was, oh God, back in 2015 I redid the walls, because the walls themselves didn't crack or anything, but my house is a double brick house. I know it's very rare in the US to have a brick house, especially a double brick one, but it was built in 1944 by the military. So but because of that, I do not have drywall. My house has, you know, plaster over the bricks, and then the plaster is painted. So all the plaster had cracked horribly. So it took me, gosh, so I started about April. It took me 4 months to finish, but I scraped all the plaster off the walls, reapplied it, and I also changed the carpets. And I know that the most work I had to do, oh God, it still pisses me off now. When I ripped the old carpet off, I discovered that at one point in the past, my house had travertine tiles. If you don't know what travertine is, it's a type of lower level marble, but it was used quite extensively in the 40s, only that it wasn't as thick as the regular marble tiles now in the stores. So okay, let me try the square pairs. So the people who remodeled the house, what they did, they actually put the, oh, I forgot how they are called. There's some pieces of wood, long and thin, that you put right near the wall that have nails going up in them that you put the carpet on. And they had nailed those into the travertine. So all the tiles on the edges of the rooms were busted. Now the problem was that those were 9-inch tiles. Nobody makes 9-inch tiles anymore. So it was impossible for me to get replacements. I would have had to custom order them, and I didn't have money for that. So I went ahead and I started removing the tile, only to discover that back in the day, what do you think they used to glue the tile to the concrete floor? Tar. So here I went. That was about a month and a half work for the 2 bedrooms and the living room and the little hall. I chiseled the tiles out. It was an ordeal, I can tell you that. It seemed like it took forever, but I managed to finish it. I cannot tell you how many pain pills I popped because I just kept going. Actually, give me just a second. I don't know how interested you are, but I'm trying to keep you entertained while I'm reducing here. In the meantime, give me just a second because I can show you what I did. I took photos. Alrighty, so let me get back on this. Okay, so this is under one of the, so this is plaster, it's not the wall. Okay, you can see the wall behind that. The line doesn't even go between the thing. There's another one. And no, this is the window under which there was that huge crack. And let me see. Look at this. This is again on that. This is this area here on the right window. This is after it was done. The floor is with that, I forgot how it's called, that sponge-like thing that you put under the carpet. The carpet wasn't there yet. And this is my bedroom with the carpet on already. Photo's not very clear here, but this is how I worked. And if you ask how I knew how to do that, well, in Romania as a kid, you kind of learn how to fix the plaster on the wall because of the earthquakes. So I watched enough of, when my dad didn't have time to do it, of course he would hire people. And I would be always there to watch and learn. I told you before, in my life I learned how to do a ton of things. And this was one of them. I'm not good when it comes to electricity and cars and mechanical stuff like that. I'm not good at all. But I know how to do a bunch of other stuff. How to restore furniture, how to put down carpet. I did need help with the carpet because I didn't have enough strength to pull it. Because the way you're supposed to do it, you hang one edge on those nail thingies, and then you have to pull real hard to, and then put it on the nails on the other side of the room, but I didn't have the strength to do it, so a neighbor came and helped me with that. But yeah, and I was looking, I did get a few other cracks in the plaster from the earthquake the other day, so I'm gonna have to fix those too. And my bedroom is that color because I had run out of money to buy white, so I went and I bought the most suitable that I could find. And you know how Lowe's and Hobby Lobby, they not Hobby Lobby, Home Depot, they have the stained ones that were returns, and you can buy them for a fraction of the price. So as I said, I was running out of money, and I just got whatever I found more suitable at Lowe's. So there was that. Alrighty, so I think we are done here. And there we go. This is how it looks like. I lost my camera. This is how it looks like. It's nice and pretty. And I'm going to make me a base to place these on, because it's the best thing to do, not to place them directly on the bracelet. And this, honestly, if you want, you can leave it like this and just buff it, or you can varnish it. Yeah, I know they were very hard. You are too young to have caught the last 10 years before the anti-communist revolution. Alrighty, so let me see. Is this long enough? Just about. Just about. I can make it slightly longer. Longer one. Yeah, it's going to look gorgeous. Trust me. And I'm going to, of course, not put them all in the same direction. But this will allow me, I'll see how much I'll have left, if I can reduce it more and place little pieces, or if I'm going to just do a regular one from these. Alrighty. Now, with a hexagonal cane, the same as with a square cane, the same as with a round cane, you need to turn it so that you don't have it squished as you keep cutting. And it's very important that you try and get same thickness. Okay, this I'm going to put aside just in case I Let's see. Yeah, let me put that up. Thank you. And as I said the last time, you can make these with other colors instead of blue. It is entirely your choice what you decide. Somehow it didn't come up the way that I was envisioning it, but I don't know. I'm going to place this here like this. As you can see, I don't put them all in the same direction for reasons of... You can put them all in the same direction, obviously, it's entirely up to you, but I think that... okay, this one I got it too thick on one side. Now we're gonna do some beads too. And again, big care so that you'd cut them all the same thickness. I have a few that are way too thick that I'm going to make beads with. You can even make a pendant if you want to. And we'll have to do some very serious burnishing on this. Hello, Wisconsin. Hi, Hazel. This is too thick, definitely. We need one more. That I messed up. Oh, come on. Yeah, today the max will be 50, but it's raining. It's not pretty. Okay, I'm going to use some of these. Okay, let me put it back here. I'm just cutting from... Hey, and the sorter from end to end. And yes, you can have bits and pieces in between. It's gonna still make it look pretty. Hey, if you don't break it like I just did. No, we're just doing some kind of puzzle here. Of course, you can use just plain white if you so desire, but I just choose to put these to a good use. Another thin one here. Yes, it will be, and it will look kind of like china, like made out of porcelain. Yeah, and I know I need to trim my fingernails, but as I said, it's an hour worth of work, so I'm never looking forward to it. But that's one thing that the pedicure wand is very good at. Yeah, there's actually a lot of traditional ceramic work in quite a few cultures that have ceramic and porcelain that have white and blue designs. I mean, we all know the cobalt porcelain. And oldest Talavera designs. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to sacrifice one more. Now, remember what I've been saying, that the more work you put into the burnishing, the less you'll have to sand. So that is valid here as well. Thick one here. And I need one more here and then the ones on the sides. That will actually be kind of half, more or less. Oh, I had one here, duh. I hadn't noticed it. I definitely need another piece. Alrighty. I'm going to first roll it, just to be on. Don't put it in the machine because it might distort it too much. Hi, Lynn. That is so easy to do. All right, and now I'm going to burnish. Yeah, that is true. That is such a beautiful blue. Have you been there to the monastery, Christina? I was at one point, my dad decided to take us all on a Moldavian monasteries tour, so it was quite wild. We slept at various houses in the villages we were passing. I don't know if people are still like that today, but at that time it wasn't hard to find lodging. Wasn't hard at all. And people were usually happy to have guests from the city. So what I want at this point is to not have any kind of cracks, right? So let me study it close up. And I still have a few. So as I said, it might take you a while, but do not skip this phase, because trust me, you'll be thankful you didn't. Alrighty, I am pretty good at this point. So let me get it off the tile. And then prepare my bangle. So what I'm doing now is it's hard to put under the camera because I have my camera pretty low, so you can see details. The bangle doesn't really fit. I mean, the space doesn't really fit the bangle and the bacon bond bottle, but this is what I'm doing. I'm putting bacon bond on the bangle, see? And you can, I suggest you put the back, I mean the inside of the bangle after you do the outside. Don't try to do it in one sitting, because you're going to leave a lot of fingerprints. That's not a good idea. And I would go with white, obviously. Just make sure that you bring the bacon bond all the way in the inside the curve of the bangle. And oops, sorry, I hit the camera. And I'm going to give it a diagonal cut. And then place it. Have to be sure that you're right in the middle. Of course, don't get too worried that you might mess up, because at this point it's still fairly, oh, I need to pull on it a little bit. It's still fairly wet, the whole bacon bond. Okay, now I am fairly in the middle with this. Here it needs to be so you can see it slides easily from one side to the other. And now we start bringing the edges together, the rolled ends over the edges. And as I said, it needs to be, you can slide it a little bit. If it doesn't reach all the way to the edge, you can slide it a little. Later, when it gets a tad stuck, it will be impossible to slide. Alrighty, so now I can take my roller and start refining this. And alternately you can just get all the little, all these, chop them and make a long strip and use that as a backing on the inside of the bangle. Alrighty, we are good, and all I need to do now is to trim the excess, and we are good to go. Just make sure that you don't have any little crack. I do still have a little bit of a crack here. Oops. It's kind of hard not to hit the camera at certain steps. I know when I was in Bucharest, I looked for that, and there was a store near the North train station, Gara de Nord. But let me tell you something, it's cheaper than it's here. Generally, everything there is cheaper than it's here, but compared to the medium income, it's not. Alright, and what I would do just to make the future backing be better fit, I'll just go in and do a little bit of a lip here. That's my little joint. And continue the lip until it gets prettified enough. And don't worry, because we are rubbing. Remember I told you when you rub raw clay on baked clay, it will just cut by itself. I don't like this here. See? So the way I do it, I come from here and I kind of push it downwards. Until I get a nice and even thing here. Yeah, I hear you. When I started this channel, I had, oh God, I had a regular camera tripod and the webcam that was much lower quality than this. And I fixed it with wire. I put the tripod on top of my working tile, which was, don't even remember what it was. I'll have to look. And I had about $20 worth of clay. And cookie cutters. And I mean cookie cutters, not clay cutters, cookie cutters that I found at Goodwill. And I changed the shape to what I needed. And then little by little, I managed to get everything that I needed. And then I managed to help others. And it was a nice journey. And there we go. There we go. Yeah. Like this. Be very careful not to let any of these little crumbs. But yeah, as you can see, it's very, very delicate, and I have to be careful how I manipulate it so I don't nick it with my fingernails. It's very, very pretty and very, very delicate. It's too big for my wrist, but I might make me one. So I hope you liked it and you enjoyed it, and whether you're safe from the weather and stay warm or cold, depending on which side of the world you are. Yeah, and if you remember, it wasn't very hard to make the cane itself. But for next time we might make another cane or sunflower. I don't know. We'll see. Okay? Thank you so much. And enjoy what's left of the weekend. And have a wonderful, wonderful next week. Don't forget to thumbs up and don't forget to use my affiliate links. Thank you. Bye.